Ooh, let's see. I think my audio is working. So the first thing you can do is let me know my audio is working. I'm using a wireless mic to the OBSBot camera, and it should be good, but I've got a backup microphone here if it's not. As always, hello everyone. My name is Anthony Barocas. Oh, wait, I've got a button for that. Come on. Okay, it's not gonna work. You're not working. My name is Anthony. I've got a button for that. Show names. Where's show names? Whatever, it's just not gonna show. Wait, if I do this, nope, it's not gonna show my name. For whatever reason, it's not gonna show my name. All right, I'm Anthony Barocas of StreamTek, and right now on this scene, for whatever reason, Restream is not gonna show my name. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why. I will figure it out after the show, and that'll be too late. But anyway, welcome everyone to today's show. As you can see, not my normal green screen. I am traveling. I am in Germany, so it's a whole different setup. But recent updates to Restream, which I am actually using to produce today's show in its entirety, is actually the focus of today's show. I'm using one computer. Oh, yeah, you can see it's tracking me. So yeah, I've got the OBSBot tracking me. I've got the OBSBot microphone. So yeah, let me know if that audio is good. And I always love to know where everyone is watching from. So I want to say hello to Pete Maz in Chicago. Welcome to today's show. And Wolfgang is here in Germany too. He's glad that I'm back here in Germany. It is 6 p.m. Just had dinner. We can say good morning to the kids' productions over in Pico Riviera, California. And also to Tell Us About That Boxing. Interesting one. Good morning from Brooklyn, New York. And lest we not forget Andreas from Corfu, Greece. Thank you all for being here. And again, if you haven't already chimed in, please let me know where you're watching from, because this is a worldwide show. We got people around the world. I am, again, in Germany. And we should also remind you that we have viewers in Seal Beach, California. So it's 2 in California today. 2. That's cool. Nobody in London and nobody in Africa. Normally I get at least 1 in Africa. I've had as many as 3 in Africa. That's been pretty cool. And as we're going to be talking about multi-aspect ratio streaming, I do want to also say that you can ask any sort of questions. I will do my best to answer them. But be aware that I am not in my home studio, so I'm not able to reach over and pull something in. I mean, I do have another little camera here. I have my phone. I got a little tripod, but I'm not in my normal studio, so I don't have a whole gaggle of I can't bring in wireless, hotspot modem and talk about that and things like that. So I can do my best to answer questions, but this is still a live show. You're here, I'm here. Feel free to throw those questions in at any time. Lab Infant. Oh, I bet I know who this is. Sent. Mr. Septafonte, maybe? Hey there. Oh no, he's in Kansas City, Missouri. Okay, so it's not who I thought it was. So hello to Kansas City, Missouri. And this is cool, Mr. Matthews from Dubai. Welcome to the show, welcome to the show. Okay, we've got Dubai in here. We've got a good audience for today's show. And as I mentioned, today's show is about multi-aspect ratio streaming. So in this show, which is on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. It's not on LinkedIn today because it was a real challenge figuring out when to schedule today's show, because when I move, the browsers sometimes move, sometimes they don't. And normally I do my show at 11 a.m. Central Time. According to my phone, it's 12 a.m. Central Time. So how does the phone not know what time it is? So I hope this is the right time. Because I had to do the calculation twice, and then once I programmed it, I had to move it. So thank you very much. Woohoo, the streaming guy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I believe that person is also in Germany. So once again, before we get into it, feel free to throw any questions in about what we're talking about today and about any other streaming topic you may have, and I'll do my best to answer it. So what I have today is, oh, Kirk. Kirk is in Dallas, Texas. It's just like magnificent, except it's labnificent. Okay, cool. Thank you. We all watch vertical reels. Vertical is a thing. We can't argue with that. Anybody who's still like, no, it has to be horizontal. Apparently they don't have a phone because vertical is a thing. And we've been asked many times, and I used to do streaming both vertical and horizontal for all these shows. And I would do my vertical to Instagram. And Instagram, I used a vertical production tool to create a special vertical layout so that whatever I was talking about, if I was next to something, that would be put underneath of me so you can still see me and the thing I'm talking about. Although if I pointed to it, I'd be pointing in the wrong direction. But anyway, that is how I created both a horizontal and a vertical version of the same stream. Now, there are certain things like you can take your RTMP and send it to Instagram, but all it's going to do is take a center crop, and that's all you're going to have. So like if you took my opening slide, it's going to be chopped off over here and chopped off over here, and that's not a good look, really. You want to create something that works both horizontal and vertical, even though you can have different arrangements for those things. So that is what I was really excited to see that Restream has put into their studio. Now, it's going to be part of different package plans, but I signed up for the 7-day free trial to do today's show. First, I will mention that if you are interested in Restream Studio, I have an affiliate link. So if you wanted to type in bit.ly/StRestream for StreamTek Restream, you can go there. There's a free plan that you can sign up for. There's different levels based on whether you want 720p, how many destinations you want, 1080p, or how many recordings you want, if you wanted to chop things up into AI and all that stuff. You can really get into that after you check it out. But checking it out is free. Or you can use the little QR code right here. Use your phone. If you're watching this on a computer or a laptop, you can use your phone and scan the little QR code right here, and that will take you to the same page. So you can go check that out. And if you do decide to sign up through this, I make 50 cents. So that's all it is. It doesn't cost you any more. It's the same thing. But because I referred you, I make 50 cents. Maybe 60 cents. So anyway, we're going to get right into it. And what I have set up on this computer, I'm actually have two browsers, and I have two Restream studios set up at the same time. So let me bring that up right here. And what you see, get this right, what you see over here is the other Restream studio. So I have two browsers, and in those two browsers, I have two different studios running. So I'm actually capturing that studio into this studio to show to you. It's very interesting. So what you see over here is, I'm going to move my mouse, is I have basically, I have this Restream studio, and I have the horizontal and a vertical. And you can see if I bring up my lower third here, it appears over here on the left, and I can hide it. See, that's what's not appearing over here. And over here, it appears, but it's moved in. So it's actually creating two, I don't know which camera to look at, because if I look over here at the camera that's in this studio, then I'm not looking, whatever. Maybe if I scoot them together more, I can just look in one spot. This is the challenges of multi-studioing. You can do two different shows, and you can see the two different shows, and also take note at the top, it says landscape and where the landscape is going. The landscape is going to YouTube and Facebook, and I can add more. And the portrait is going to YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So you can select different destinations for the different streams. Pretty cool. But do know that, if I bring this up, hopefully it'll bring up the same window. Yeah. So you can see here it is on Facebook. I have the StreamTek channel. I can do landscape or portrait. I can pick which one I send it to. And this was interesting. With YouTube, there's actually a combo button, landscape and portrait from the same stream. I don't know how that works, but I'll leave it to Restream to figure that out on the back end. That's really cool. And then LinkedIn, I picked vertical. And Facebook on my page, I picked vertical. And then if we come down here, is there any more? There's no more. So these are the ones I picked. Horizontal, vertical, and over here, both. Those are the ones I wanted. And then you could have a dozen channels lined up and then pick and choose how you want or what you want to go to each one. Pretty cool, huh? So let me close that. And now, so I have the 3 portraits and the 2 landscapes, and I was actually going to give this a try and go live so that you could actually click over and see what they look like. So I'm just going to click and go live from the same account. 4, 3, 2, 1. So hello to everyone who's now watching these other streams on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I am streaming through Restream Studio, and my name is Anthony Barocas. I am the chief gearhead. Oh, it depends on which, if you're watching the vertical, this is the vertical. If you're watching the horizontal, this is the landscape. And this is part of a larger show that I'm doing on YouTube as part of my regular stream. And now I am streaming on these other channels. If any of the viewers wanted to go and check out, let's just say StreamTek on Facebook or the StreamTek channel on YouTube and see if you can see the other streams, that would be very interesting because right here, I can bring in all the chat messages from all those different platforms at the same time. It's going to pull them in from all these platforms. And I'm really curious how it's going to change the display to handle the comments. So feel free to throw in a comment there. I'll close this up. And then over here, like I was saying, now I've got these 2 different layouts. You can do customization and do different designs as well. But if you wanted to show a second thing, that second thing can be a video, it could be slides, it could be still images, or it could be another browser. So I have my main show where I'm bringing in that browser, and then I have the browser show, and now I'm going to bring in another browser. So let me click over here to this scene. Now, here's where you see the difference in the 2 landscapes. The landscape is showing you side by side. The vertical one, I would love to tweak that a little bit. I would like to make my image a little bit bigger and everything, but there's no customization on that one. This one, I could maximize this. So you can actually, in the middle of that show, you can say, let me just maximize this, but see, that doesn't work for a landscape source in a vertical show. Now it's all cut off. So let me size that back down. Now someone who's watching the vertical show can see the whole thing, and someone who's watching the horizontal show can also see the whole thing. And I think that's really, really cool to be able to change that design. Of course, the Restream also offers the ability to have all these different layouts down the bottom. So if I change the type of layout, I could do this. Now I am over top of, and again, on the vertical, this doesn't work because I'm bringing in landscape content. And you can cycle through these and find, what works for you. And the cool thing is, this is what I actually kind of want to do. It doesn't work so well for landscape, but I can tweak the layout, I think. Here, I can change the radius names. Okay, I can't change the divider position, unfortunately. That would be cool if I could change where the divider is and squeeze me over a little bit. This works really well for the vertical, not as well for the landscape. So you can see that this cuts a little bit off on the landscape. But it works over here for the vertical. And this is the magic of this. You create a scene. The scene over here I have is called demo. And this demo scene, once I build it like this, and I go back to just me talking, is going to stay that way for both of the streams. And then if I want to go back to demo, I can have different layouts. Here's demo. You know what? Let's duplicate this, create a new one, go down to demo 2, add a source. Let's just see if we can add a screen share. Yeah. Let's see if we can add, I'm sort of at the limit of what the, yeah, I can't add a second screen share because I'm already screen sharing. So let's just see, can I bring in an image? Will it let me bring in an image? There it goes. Okay, so now I have an image. Ooh, and it did a good job formatting it for both. So remember, these remain. This is a scene. Once I have built this scene with this image, I can go back to me. I can go back to that scene. I can go back to this scene. I can change this scene. I can make it back like this. Here you go. Now you can see, well, that's pretty good, I guess. And then this remains like this. This remains like this. And I have a countdown. And you know what? Even the countdown is designed properly for both. Here's the countdown. And it puts, you know, obviously I have to redesign the slide better for vertical, but here you can see the countdown is counting down in both at the same time. My mic is muted during the countdown, so if anybody's watching either of those streams, they're not hearing me now. But again, with the settings of this, after 30 seconds, it's going to change automatically to the next scene, which is another thing that I used in my show right here, that as soon as the countdown is done, with no effort on my part, it automatically goes to the next scene and turns up the microphone and fades down the audio. Very nicely done. I have to commend Restream on making that happen. Nobody's commented on those other streams yet, so I can't bring in a comment. But I do feel that this is really heading the way that I think production is going to be going, because there are different audiences on different platforms who want to see the same show. They need it formatted differently. So to be able to set up all your different scenes for both horizontal and vertical viewers, I think is really going to start to become more of the norm for things that are out there. And to be able to click on a scene and have both audiences be able to see a show that's formatted for them, I think is really, really where things are going. I got a couple, well, I didn't get a couple questions in yet. Let's go back to me. And I'm switching this in the other Restream. It's 8:05 p.m. in Dubai. Good evening. Levnificent says, is a new OBSBot Talent 2 the same device as the Magewell Director 1 with more capability or the same capability? No. And I actually did a show 2 weeks ago on the OBSBot Talent 2 as a whole speculation show, looking at photos and anything we could divine. It is definitely not the Magewell Director 1. No. And I'll get more into that. Also, John Shaughnessy, good to see you here. Welcome to the show. And Incoherent Isle says, hello from Twitter. What Twitter? Twitch. Twitch. My only viewer on Twitch. Thank you very much. But to get back to this one, the OBSBot Talent 2 is, oh, wait, I have a comment on the other side. Audrey, thank you very much, Audrey. Let's go back to that scene because I have the same scenes set up in my, primary show with different scenes. So I can go back to this. So Audrey came over here. Let's just go to like the main scene like this with titles. And Audrey says, hi. So what happens? Okay, it fades my name out and fades it in a good spot for both. That's actually really cool. So it knows where it needs to put it in both versions. So even if I'm conducting a vertical thing, it's not going to put it too far over to the side. It's going to put it within the frame. So thank you, Audrey, for commenting on the YouTube stream. If you are watching this, if you're watching the, I don't even know what it's called. Did I even give it a name? Live with Restream. Okay. If you're watching the Live with Restream show on YouTube, the main show that all this content is going into is called dual aspect streaming. Or apparently I spelled it wrong in the actual file name. It's dual spect streaming. Just realized that now. Sorry about that. But yes, thank you very much for commenting and letting us be able to see and test. So even if I brought up something like this and I brought up the comment, it even scoots up the vertical independently because it doesn't need to, technically I don't think it needed to move the vertical either. But you know, I have to also consider that if you're watching something on Instagram, at least, I don't do Twitch. If you're watching something on Instagram, there's so much buttons and other clutter, you know, like the name of it, a little description is overlaid over top of the bottom. And then you've got, you know, a row of buttons off to the side, you know, all the different share, you know, like, comment, and all this thing. There's all this clutter over top of it, and there's no way that I have found in Instagram to basically like tap the screen and just say, make it all go away so I can just watch the thing that I'm trying to watch. Because as you can see over there, this comment is going to be buried under other content. You know, that's kind of a problem, I think, because these vertical platforms put a bunch of stuff over top of the screen that I have not yet found a way to get rid of. If you found a way to get rid of it, please let me know. So again, thank you, Audrey, for commenting. And if we try that other layout, I think it'll just put it there. Yeah, it'll just put it over top of there because it's just overlaying. So that is how the comments work in the horizontal and vertical portrait and landscape versions of doing a simultaneous production. See, that's the magic. Simultaneous. I don't have to use two different switchers. I don't have to use two different components. I don't have to manage two different things. And technically, I think you could do this like in vMix. You could have a whole series of vertical things and a vertical destination and a whole series of horizontal things. And then you could program in when I push this button to cut to 2, it means cut to input 5 on the landscape and cut to input 15 on the vertical, you know, and seeing, you know, that setup. And that way with one button, you can have multiple things happen. You can trigger multiple things in vMix, you know, among other things. And you could trigger 2 shows at the same time with one button. You know, there's a lot of tools that let you do that. Even the Magewell director lets you with the shortcuts. It says, you know, click. I'm clicking this one shortcut, but this one shortcut has like 5 different things lined out in it, and it could do multiple things. But the all-in-one devices are not. None of them are set up for simultaneous production. vMix, you could probably make it work. Same with OBS, but none of the hardware tools. They say they can do vertical and they can do horizontal, but they don't mean they will do both horizontal and vertical at the same time with different layouts. None of them mean that at this point. So the fact that Restream is making it possible so that I can have different pre-programmed scenes over here on the left with me side by side with that content, full screen with this content. I can have these scenes saved, just cut back and forth between them. I can bring in comments, and the comments will go into the proper place for both of those different shows. So the people who are on LinkedIn can see this comment that came in from YouTube. That's really cool. And that link or that API aggregation is one of the reasons I personally use Restream, is because, yes, I can use vMix or whatever and I could stream out, but only sending one stream, actually technically I'm sending 2 streams right now, but sending one stream out and having Restream send it to 5 different places is a lot easier on my data bit budget. Got a couple people coming in. Professional streaming PR. Good to see you. Joel from Puerto Rico. And we also have Cody here from Kansas. Good to see you. Good to see you. And again, this is a live show. Thank you all for being here. We've got a good audience today. And if you have any questions, do throw them into the comments, because I'm getting the comments from all the platforms, actually all the platforms now. So if somebody comments anywhere, I'll see it. Although if you comment on the Live with Restream show, I won't be able to bring it into the main dual aspect streaming show. And if you are coming in late and you haven't already chimed in, let me know where you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from. This is really cool. So I think this is the start of where things are going to go. I think dual aspect streaming is really going to kind of become the norm as we move forward. It's going to take more CPU power, absolutely. Right now I'm on a gaming PC and I am at 80% on the CPU and 40% on the GPU. And only 12 gigabytes of memory being used. Not much in terms of memory, because all of this runs in the browser. So this Restream studio that I'm showing you, both that studio over there that you're seeing behind the scenes and this studio that you're seeing the program from, both of these studios are running in two different browsers so that I can manage what camera is going to what browser and what audio is going to what browser. And if you were interested in checking them out, you can, of course, use the QR code. Oh, now it goes away. I'll bring it back. You can use the QR code. You can go to bit.ly/st-restream. I think capitals are important. Or if you wanted to, you could just use your phone. If you're looking at a laptop or a computer, use your phone, point it at the QR code right there, and that would take you to sign up. And signing up is free. You can set up a free account. You can play around with it. Yeah, you got to pay money to take the logo off and add more destinations and do different things. And the studio that I'm showing you over here is actually right now, it is probably going to be a paid upgrade doing this dual aspect streaming. And I have a 7-day free trial that when I went to try and do it, it says, oh, do you want to sign up for the 7-day free trial? I was like, yes. And so that's what's happening over there is a 7-day free trial. I have not signed up for it and they have not provided it for free except for the 7-day free trial. But if you are interested in trying it out, you could use this QR code right here. And I would love to find out from people, do clients ask you for dual aspect streaming? Because I have actually had that ask already. I have had people ask me, listen, we want to do this, and can you go both to TikTok and whatever? I'm like, well, TikTok is vertical and it has, certain things that need to, you got to do to get it to work and everything. And it ended up that they felt, YouTube is by far the most prevalent platform, but I find people really still love to go to Facebook. There are businesses that want to be on LinkedIn. Gamers obviously are going to be using Twitch. And there's huge Instagram population, huge TikTok populations, and things like that. But honestly, I think confusing all. I see 3 streams on my phone. Yes, you would see 3 streams across because I'm doing a picture-in-picture in my studio. So that's what's happening here. And I can click like this and bring it out so that you only see just me. So I am using Restream Studio to bring in my view of the desktop of the computer that I'm using to produce another show so that you can see the buttons I push. You can see how I'm arranging things. You can see the menus that come up. That's what I'm doing there. And what you don't see is on this show, I'm looking at another studio, just like that one. I'm looking at another studio, but you're only looking at the program output. You don't see all the comments coming in, the live viewer count, all my different scenes that I have set up. You don't see all of that. Otherwise, it'd probably be like a matrix thing, like, where does reality begin and where do things end? Oh, we have another Puerto Rico show? Oh yeah, I got you. Alrighty. So thank you all for for joining me for today's show. It's just very interesting. I wanted to show what I think is going to be where things are going. Will more hardware be able to support multi-aspect streaming? I don't know. I really don't know. And I think that's going to be a challenge because also with multi-aspect streaming, you have to really build all this stuff. And then if you want to do multi-aspect streaming, you got to build it twice. That's why something like Restream makes it a little easier because it helps build it with you. So when I wanted to build a new scene, I can come over here and say, okay, this is what I have. Well, let's try this. Let's try this. I'm not trying to drag and position things by myself to make them work. I'm choosing from a couple key presets. And I think that really helps streamline the process of building something for multiple aspect ratios. Yeah, maybe they'll get to the point where they'll have a couple more presets. That'd be kind of cool. But at the same time, I can look at this preset and I can say, you know what? I want to customize this. Or wait a minute, let's go to this one. This is the one this is kind of what I wanted. So now you can see me more narrow. The content drag to move. No, I can't drag it. I can't drag it up. And then of course I can always maximize this. I can always maximize me. And then there's also this customize, like I can put a radius on here. And this is what I was looking for. I was looking for the ratio. This is the one where I can move the slider from side to side. I really like this. I really, really, really like this because this really does maximize at least this one thing over here. And you can change the alignment. Do I want to be on the right? Do I want to be on the left? Well, I can just do that. I can just do that and rearrange things. So that's, again, the magic of this tool is that it's hands-on. It's not numerical. It's not, trying to like, bring this in, like vMix would be. This is very visual, hands-on, grab, drag, grab a slider like this and start moving things around. And yeah, okay, this is where I want it to be. And this makes it so much easier to build shows like this where I don't think hardware switchers with menus and things it's going to take a while for them to catch up to where we are right here in Restream Studio. When I saw that they had built this, I was like, wow, this is going to be huge. Or what was that movie? Fifth Element. This is really something. Another question comes in. I own a YOLOBox Pro and a Director Mini. In your opinion, would the Director Mini be better for working in a team-oriented environment because of the way it can delegate tasks to other people? The YOLOBox Pro, I don't think, the YOLOBox Pro, again, is a 5-year-old machine. The Director Mini is not that old, so it has more built into it. In a team-oriented environment, yes, I would agree that the Director Mini, you can have a couple people on laptops, one person handling audio, one person handling graphics or comments, mixing, doing different things like that. You can hand all of that out. The Director Mini does have that capability. And with the Director Mini, they don't even have to be local. If you have they don't call it Cloud Connect. If you have their cloud service, once you connect the Director Mini into that cloud service, somebody else can remote in from pick a place, Kansas, Puerto Rico, and they could be your person that's going to manage your audio. And they're just doing it in Kansas. So you could have 5 people working on your show and you're the only person sitting at the table. That's pretty cool. But yes, I think the Director Mini would be better for a team-oriented environment, specifically because of that. The YOLOBox Pro, you can do the keypad, you can do the StreamTek or the YOLO deck, but at the same time, you don't have the web control, you don't have the local area network control, you don't have, across the web through the internet control and things like that. So there's, or on a laptop control on the YOLOBox Pro. So yes, I would say the Director Mini for that specific aspect does indeed have the edge. And again, people always say, what's the best tool? What do you want to do with it? If we're talking specifically a team oriented to delegate tasks, that helps you pick your tool. Does the YOLOBox have a compatible feature set? On the other devices, yes. On the Ultra and the Extreme, you have the ability to use a computer and come in via the LAN. You have more capability with those devices. Yes, it's a powerful tool, not for talking head formats. What about the Extreme? Yes, like I said, the Extreme is more powerful. You can hook up the YOLO deck. They do have, they're coming up with the StreamTek, so then you can, hand things off to people using not just the YOLO deck, but an actual StreamTek like I have here. I have a StreamTek. And that way you can, here you do this, here you do that. Somebody's got all the PTZ presets and things like that. They're over there, and somebody else has a laptop and they are, logged into it, and they can access it that way. So the Extreme is more capable than the Pro, but of course the Extreme is also several years newer than the Pro, and so is the Magewell Director Mini. So as broadcasters would be a table touchscreen. No, I think, the broadcast director would still just be calling shots or scenes. Give me this, give me that, give me the other. And I think it comes down to the engineer building those scenes ahead of time. So the director's booth, would be, give me this, give me that. And with a high-end broadcast switcher, you got multiple MEs and things like that. You could definitely, with, positioning and stuff like that, you could technically build, two shows to switch at the same time. Now, whether the system is not designed to switch multiple banks concurrently, as far as I know, but who knows? Ross and those companies, they could definitely come up with software upgrades whereby, hey, now with this new system, you can dedicate ME2 to be your vertical bus and ME1 to be your horizontal bus. And now when you switch on the bottom bus, you are switching those two buses concurrently just with one button. You don't have to hit this one, that one, and say go, and this one, that one, and say go. You're using the bottom one as a control surface for the top two. So that is something that can happen. It may inevitably happen if high-end broadcasters want to do the same thing. If they, are going to be sending their content out, streaming to both landscape and portrait viewers. And I think that's where it's going to have to go, because people are watching on both platforms. Heck, we already know that Audrey is watching on one of those platforms. I had a Bluetooth America keypad because of your video also. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. And actually, the irony is I'm not using my Magewell today, so I don't have my numeric keypad. I actually have my Stream Deck, and these are all the buttons I have programmed in on my Stream Deck to control the show. So if I want to go down to the next scene, I say down, and it goes to the next scene. It brings that up, and then when I want to fade that out, I go up to the next scene. And if I push the names, it's supposed to, there it goes. Now it's working. It brings my name up. Hello, my name is Anthony Brogus. I am the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek, and I push this button and it takes the name off. And if I had a slide deck, Restream will actually bring in a PowerPoint, and I can go next slide and previous slide with these two buttons. The thing that Restream can't do yet, and that I have been begging them for, although I will admit that they have changed the countdown timer setup with several recommendations that I had. They have, they have done several things that I have recommended, have made their way into Restream. So they do listen. But the thing that I have been begging them for is that I can actually assign each of, let me bring up the other scene. I want to bring up each of these, give each of these a keystroke, a name, so that this one is like Shift K, and this one is Shift J, and Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 4, Shift 5. And then I could program my StreamTek to type Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 4, Shift 5. And so this way, the way they have it now is you have to go up and down. So if you wanted to get from here to here, you have to go through here. What I want to do is I want to cut from here to there. I just want to go to the different scene without going through each of the individual scenes. The way it is now, you have to go in a row. You can build a show, and I have done this, where you go in a row all the way down. So it's like, oh, I want to go back to me, I create another version of me. And I want to go back to the two-shot, I put another version of the two-shot. So I am continuing to go all the way down the line. Basically, it's like having a run of show. We're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this, and you go down the line. And I just have to hit the next button. But it gets really long and obtuse. And when I only really need 4 scenes, but I want to jump between them in any direction, I just want to have direct call to each of those 4 scenes or 7 scenes or whatever they are. That hasn't happened yet. I hope the Restream team, will come up with it. And, they've shown that they do listen. They've modified the heck out of the countdown so that it works for me. I'm able to move the number to the corner, and things like that. Wait, let's go back over here. It used to be that when you went to the countdown timer was stuck in the middle. That was it. That was the only place I was. I'm like, this does not work. I want to be able to move it. Now you can move it anywhere. Yay. And you can resize it any size you want. You can change the font. You can attach audio. And if you attach audio, let's just do that. And then you come in here, then you can adjust the volume of the audio. You can change the font, the color, and after how many seconds, you can go in here, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, custom time. I says, because it was only like 5 or 10 minutes at first. I said, no. I do a 15-minute countdown custom time because maybe somebody wants to use it for a 30-minute lunch custom time. And so they listened. They made that happen. They made it all work. And so now when I go to this, let's put it back down here. And you see they got these guides that pop up. That's the middle. Okay, great. Thank you. They made all that work. So kudos to the Restream team for making that happen. And I will throw this in one more time. If you are interested in trying it out, bit.ly/ST for StreamTek-Restream, or you can use your phone, point it at the QR code, and that will take you to the sign up. And if you sign up from my affiliate, I'll make 50 cents. It doesn't cost you anything more to follow my follow my affiliate link, but I'm a happy customer. The more they make that works for me, the happier I am as a customer. And that's kind of like the point of today's show, is that people are needing to do multi-aspect ratio streaming. People are being asked. I want to do vertical and horizontal. I got audiences on Instagram and on YouTube, and I want people to be able to watch on both. And being able to do that now, as simple as that. People on YouTube are watching me do this. You got to look at the other show where I'm pointing at the other thing. That is, I think, going to be where things are headed, especially, maybe not broadcast, because broadcast maybe let's just focus on TVs. But I think the audiences are there for vertical content. I see people watching content, watching vertical content while they're at a game. They're not watching horizontal content. They're watching vertical content while they're sitting in the stands at a game. So it's like, oh, let me watch the replay. The replay's got to be vertical. So whether that's a center cut, whether that's an automatically tracked, cut or something like that, I do think this, multi-aspect streaming is going to be where things go in the next few years. Mark my words, in 2026, I said. That'll be kind of cool. Let's pull that away. Thank you. And had one more question or one more comment come in. Haven't used Switcher better than the Director Mini yet. I hope they add 4K streaming and recording to it. Well, they won't add anything to the Director Mini. The Director Mini is what it is. It is at the maximum of what the Director Mini can do. The Director One is the Director Mini. I was, when they came out with it, I joked that they should have just called it the Director Mini Plus, because it was the Director Mini plus internal SIM card, plus external antennas, plus a dedicated HDMI port. I mean, it didn't change the core operating system. It didn't change the core functionality of what the Director Mini did. It was still the same thing. It still had the same 3 live videos in a multi-view. It had that same limitations and everything. So it's probably the same processor, the same everything inside, just with some of the key things that people have been asking for, like brighter screen, a bigger, brighter screen. That was added. HDMI out, that was added. Oh, I want to have a SIM card built in. That was added. And then they went with the external antennas, which I personally think is awesome, because if you wanted to hook up a directional Wi-Fi antenna down to where your cameras are, that makes more sense than just omnidirectional antennas, where half your signal going that way, which doesn't help you. But the new one, let's go back up. We can talk about that a little bit. The one that Osbot showed, what they are calling the Osbot Talent 2. They showed it at NAB, and apparently they're showing it at another show right now. I saw somebody post about it today, actually. The new Osbot Talent 2 has 4 HDMIs on the side. That's a change. That is a change. It still has 2 USBs. It has 4 antennas on top. The antennas say 5G. I've gone on record saying I don't think there's a whole lot of benefit to going to 5G, but maybe we're at the point where 5G cellular chips are at the same point where it doesn't make a difference whether it's 4G or 5G, and now it's just more forward. You're more future safe with it, whereas 4G still has more than enough upload speed for your streams. And in many cases, in many places, you could be 5G for download, but you're still 4G for the upload anyway. Even if it is a 5G cell phone, you're still 4G for uploading stuff. I haven't been able to tell from the photos whether the Talent 2 is dramatically bigger, although putting 4 lengthwise HDMI ports says to me it is going to be bigger than the Director 1, larger. It is not the Director 1 with capability, because I think the case has gotten larger. Things have moved around, different ports have moved around, so I think it's a whole new motherboard, whole new capability. And the Director, again, is a couple years old. And as we see with cell phones advance very quickly. There's new silicon coming out for cell phones like every 6 months. New Snapdragon chip, new this chip, new that chip, and each one leapfrogs over top of the other one. And for them to, say, listen, we can just take what's current today, and it's going to be leaps better than it was 2 years ago, because that's how far things have advanced in those 2 years. So the Osbot Talent 2 looks exciting. I don't know what the feature set will be. And as I have said, as an Osbot user, you could probably see in the background, as an Osbot user, I would love to see Osbot put more of their camera capability into the software, so that I can access, exposure and color and things like that. I can access all those things that I can access through the Osbot Center, or many of the things, more things. Because right now, the only thing you can do is you can turn tracking on and off. You can kind of tell it, do you want the whole body or just, a headshot? And then you could point it at different things and save presets. That's all you can do. And with NDI, you can do the preset and pointing too. So there's a little bit more than NDI, but I would love to have exposure controls, manual exposure, auto exposure, change the white balance and things like that, more camera controls, so that we have that ability. It's like, is the image look good, or do I need to dial the color back? Do I need to match other cameras? More saturation, less saturation, change the hue a little bit so that I can get, somebody says, oh, can you use my GoPro too? Yes, I can use your GoPro too, but now I got to try and get the cameras to match. So we need color controls for the cameras. So hopefully those things can get rolled into it. And that, I think, would be an exciting development for the future. I am going to end my secondary streams at this point. Oh, we had another comment come in. Mike Sabatini says, hi from LaSalle, Illinois. Good to see you. If you're watching the Live with Restream, you're missing the dual aspect streaming show, which is in another stream. I've got 3 streams going right now. Yes, if you're on YouTube, there should technically be 3 streams going right now. So it's the most I've ever streamed at one time. The most versions too. I've not done this horizontal and vertical streaming from a single tool before, ever. I've had to use different tools to do it. I've done it on different tools, but never from a single solution. And so Restream made that happen right here. So thank you, Mike Sabatini. I'm going to end that stream right there. End stream. Great job. Upgrade. So that's what it's going to do if you come in at the basic plan. It's going to say, hey, you should upgrade. I'm going to skip the upgrade. And we'll close that out. And got a question come in. Eric says, Restream can put out multiple streams from you in different type formats suitable for the different platforms. That's the key thing. Yes, that's the new thing that they're doing. They're doing both horizontal and vertical, or landscape and portrait, as they're calling it. They're doing both of those streams at the same time. That's what that is. Landscape and portrait, different destinations. It's the same destinations. You can choose what destination gets what version, or YouTube gives you the ability to pick both. Landscape, portrait, both. That's pretty slick. And I just click one go live button up here in the corner and all of them go. That's kind of the magic of working with Restream, is that it has that, it's like, yeah, I'm a producer. I've built plenty of shows in vMix, and I've worked with a TriCaster and have to build the MEs and position everything. I've done all that. And there comes a time when, you know what? If I can have a tool help me with that, I'm happy to have a tool help me with that. And this tool helps me with that. And I've also said, previously, that if you are new to streaming and, need to build fancy multi-views and pictures and things like that, I find the YOLO box is just a super handy tool to do that, to build those multi-views and make that process touch-friendly, intuitive. They've done a really, really good job making that happen. So kudos to them as well. I'm non-platform, dependent. I'm not beholden to anyone. I'm not a spokesperson for any one particular company. I'm putting up the Restream link here. I'm going to bring it up and then move it away. I bring that up because, hey, I use it every week for my shows. And if I feel comfortable and confident in using it, then I might as well say, hey, listen, if you want to try it out, use my affiliate link. That's all that is. So with that, wait, I can use my name button. Yeah. I am Anthony Barocas, the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek. And I want to thank you for joining me on today's show all about multi-aspect streaming. I want to thank our audience from around the world, Puerto Rico, Greece, India, a couple in America, Germany. Thank you all for being there. I appreciate every one of you, and I will look forward to seeing you all next time. I don't have a fancy goodbye thing. I have to build one of those and load it in the Restream. So till next time, thanks for watching.